A Million Little Things, episode 2. So, right off the bat, I'm having somewhat of an issue with this show. Because you have the majority of the cast doing one thing, and then you have Maggie doing this other thing, and it feels like I'm watching two different shows. It's weird. Plus, so far in this show, Maggie has only been in one place, the house, the entire time. I know it's only 2 episodes in, but I feel like, one, if she doesn't do anything other than stay in that damn house, it's going to be a problem. And two, again, I don't like the whole splitting the cast thing. It's weird. Um, so with that being said, let's start with Rome and Regina, because from the last episode, they are still having this tension. This tension because they didn't go through with the second adoption because Regina is still hurting and getting over the loss, or trying to get over the loss of losing the first one. When the mother decided to back out at the last minute, and Rome is not happy, and there's a lot of awkward tension that's going on throughout the episode. He also meets the woman that's going to be playing his wife. So there's a bit of an issue there because she's coming across as a diva and wants to kind of I would say hijack the script, change a lot of stuff that's going on. So he has that going on. And finally, towards the end of the episode, because she's like, yo, listen, you got to talk. Because this is this whole sort of silent treatment isn't working. And, earlier there was a blow up because Rome was like, listen, if I say something I'm lashing out, and if I don't say anything then it's like I'm being weird and funny around you. And towards the end, she was like, she's going through her own thing, she's going through her own grieving process, and in some ways she's kind of resentful of Rome because she feels like she has to do it by herself. So they got that whole thing going on. You got Sophie that, is going to be she took a trip to go to Harvard to check out the campus and everything like that. And the reason why that she wants to go to Harvard is that way she could be closer to her dad. And throughout the episode, she talks to, I guess, one of her friends, and her friend tells this story that she had with, Sophie's dad. And for the first time, Sophie's like, I can't remember that story. I can't really remember a lot. And, it hits her how much she misses him. And towards the end of the episode, she realized that she doesn't even want to go to Harvard. She feels like that's not going to bring her any closer to her dad. And while that's going on, you got Delilah that's getting ready for a date night, but as she's getting ready, she's looking at photos and just bringing up a lot of memories of her and John. So with everything that's going on, she decides to cancel their date. And he understands and everything like that. She's also having some issues with her dad a little bit because his Alzheimer's is getting a lot worse. And towards the end of the episode, she decides to, take her dad on a trip to France or something like that, so they can just have some good times and some memories or whatever while he can still remember whatever he can remember. Start with Gary. let's go with Gary and that woman that I can't remember her name. It's 2 episodes in, I still can't remember her name. But he has this awkward conversation with Maggie. At first he didn't even answer the phone. He just felt weird with his new girlfriend being there and his ex-girlfriend calling, and she was like, just call her back, answer the phone or whatever. So he answers and he talks to her for a little bit, And she's feeling some sort of way because, he's not in his own place. The dog is spending the night at his new girlfriend's, and it's just moving on, and she's not really happy about it. And she makes some sort of sly comment about it, which even I was like, wow, really? Like, that's... I would sit there and say that's so petty and so beneath her, but it is what it is. At that point, he was like, yeah, I'm not doing this, so bye. He hangs up the phone with her, and he goes on about his day, which consists of picking up Theo from school. Now, Eddie is still having... Well, he's adjusting is a lot harder on him than he's letting on to his family. He puts on a brave face. Every time his family is like kind of worried, there was one point he was getting tired of doing something, and they like gasped or whatever. And he was like, "No, it's cool. I'm fine. I got it. Don't chill." But there's an incident where they leave the house and they forgot to give him back his wheelchair, and well, he sort of has an accident on himself. So when Gary comes to pick him up, and Eddie explains, he was like, "Yo, listen, I couldn't get to the wheelchair, and I didn't want to sit there and cry and have my family worried and stuff like that." And so, Gary being Gary, he decides to spill something on Eddie so that way his son doesn't worry even more. Find out later on in the episode his son is still worrying about him. But, after that, Gary goes back and he talks to his girlfriend and, lets him know what's going on with Eddie. And, his girlfriend gives him some sound advice. And when Gary is like, why don't you train him? Why don't you help him with PT and whatever? She's like, I'm not doing that. She still has issues with Eddie when he cheated on her with Delilah. Cheated on him with Delilah. So she was just like, yeah, I'm not. No. Towards the end of the episode, she does wind up agreeing to do it because Catherine freaks out because she finds the sweatpants or whatever that Eddie was wearing, and she is about to lose it. And she is already feeling guilty and worried about going to work, leaving him at home, and so she decides to step in and help Eddie out. What else? Also, throughout the episode, you got Gary that decides, because his girlfriend or his new girlfriend, whatever her name is, was like, he needs to sit there and get into a routine. He needs to feel like, like he's doing something, like he has some semblance of control. Even if he can do it, even if he has to do it a little bit differently, he still needs to feel like he has some sort of confidence. So Gary decides to take him out to play basketball. And, at first he's mad, he's upset, he's frustrated. But, when they start playing basketball and stuff like that, he eventually gets into it and he starts having fun. Towards the end of the episode, with Eddie, storyline or whatever, this is after they have dinner and they're playing ping pong, and they hear ring, the doorbell ring. So Theo decides to get the door, which is kind of odd. I don't know why, but I just find it kind of odd. Maybe I'm just the overprotective person, but he gets the door, and it's the same guy that wound up hitting Eddie in the first place. And now, first of all, the look on Theo's face when he sees that guy, I think just described how I felt. Just worry and fear, and just like looks like a total psychopath. By the way, I am changing the name to Recaps because I feel like reviewing it's not really reviewing it if I'm kind of just telling play by play of some of the stuff that's happened. So I'm going to start calling these Recaps. Anyway, Catherine comes to the door and he's all like, oh, you have a really nice son. Make sure you cherish every moment you have with him because you never know. And then he just walks off, and I'm like, what the hell is wrong with this guy? I don't understand how this guy operates at all, because one minute he decides to hit Eddie. Then he calls 911 to save her. Then towards the end of Then towards the end of the episode, um, he's like stalking his family while they're exchanging their vows. And now in this episode, he's what? I'm not even gonna sit there and say playing ding dong ditch. He's just like being creepy. Like, what was the point of going over his house? I do not understand that for the life of me. But he leaves, and they both get that creepy vibe. Like, the hell was that about? Now, on the other side of the world, or the other storyline for some odd reason, and granted, listen, I get it. Everyone has their own separate storylines, but everyone can interact with each other. The only thing Maggie could do at this point is call someone. That's it, and have little, Skype chats and stuff. But she starts to get along with a roommate. This is after Gary hung up the phone on her, and the roommate's like, you're not really here. You haven't really done anything since you got here. You haven't left. You haven't really explored this town or anything like that. It's like your mind is still over there in Boston. So they start like searching to this guy. I guess the person that Maggie replaced, they sent his stuff ahead of time before they realized he dropped out. So they start searching through his stuff, this other roommate's, this other guy's stuff or whatever, and start bonding a little bit. And we find out the reason why this guy doesn't like therapists. And I gotta sit there and say this therapist is pretty shitty, and I hope throughout the story he lost his job, because this is after his mom died. His dad wanted him to go to a therapist, so he goes to the therapist, and he tells his story about his dad making him a costume or whatever, and the therapist wanted repeating that story to his dad. So that's kind of a reason why he doesn't like therapists now. Yeah, I think I pretty much kind of covered everything. And the only thing she learned is that she needs to be more present and like not really kind of have her mind out there, kind of explore the city, kind of have a good friendship with this guy, or probably maybe more, because let's be honest, he's the only other person that she's actually interacted with since her move to Boston. And the guy is single, so whatever. And this way she doesn't have to have these awkward conversations with Gary, because the way that she tried to get back together with him was after Gary was happy with somebody else. Then she wants to sit there and try to drop this bombshell on him and be like, oh, I really want to get back together with you. And so it's like, you made that decision to actually tell you the truth, I think he broke up with her, so never mind. But at least it won't be this awkward thing between him and Gary or whatever, and when they do have a conversation, it won't be like she's still like petty jealous. With that being said, that's actually gonna do it for this recap of A Million Little Things. I'm not gonna lie, I tried to do this yesterday, and I realized that I couldn't review it the way I wanted to review it without like talking about stuff that went on in the episode. So with that being said, thank you for watching. Let me know what you thought of this episode. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Why not? All that good stuff. And let me know if you like the whole idea of Maggie doing whatever she's doing and the cast just being whatever the cast is doing. Because I'm not going to lie, I find it a little bit jarring, and I understand that everyone does their own things in these particular episodes, but it doesn't feel like that. Like, it feels like it's their story, and then it's just Maggie and whatever the hell she's doing. I swear, if this woman does not do something outside this apartment, I think I'm going to lose it. Have a good weekend. I will catch you in the next recap.